Well, I am a hot mess right at this moment. The corn had fell down. Majority of the corn had fell down, was leaning. A lot of it was laying onto the ground because we had a terrific rain windstorm that came in, and it looked like a tornado went through this corn right here. And I gave it a little bit of time. It acted like it wanted to stand up. And then I said, I looked at it because it was kind of twisted. I said, there's no way this corn's going to be able to stand up like it's supposed to. Some of it's not going to be able to stand up if I don't help it. So I got in there and I helped it. This has got dirt all over it. It's just laying completely to the ground. So I had to untangle this weave pretty much when I got in there. And what the deal was is that with all the rains and the winds, the rain had washed away a majority of the dirt. I was concerned about the corn anyhow because I seen the feeder roots coming down, but I knew they wasn't strong enough. And I knew that if we got some wind, if we got a lot of wind and some rain, it might not be good. And it wasn't. So it shocked me when I came out yesterday afternoon to shut the chickens in. Now it's not perfect, but it's up. But we got more rain coming. So I just there and prayed, and I said, Lord, please don't send any more rain. We just don't need any more rain. I don't need any more wind, just a little breeze, because I am burning up. I am sweating trying to get this corn to stand back up. And so I did put some dirt around the roots as much as possible. It's not the dirt that I need, amount of dirt that I need. But what did I learn from this? Well, as I looked at the corn yesterday morning, I noticed the feeder roots. I noticed the size of the feeder roots. I noticed around the bottom of the corn. I was like, I think next time I'm not going to plant it up on such a high hill, and maybe I'll have more dirt to put around it, because that really was the problem. If they had a good amount of dirt put around this corn, it wouldn't have failed like it did. It might have roughed it. It might not have fell at all. But last year I didn't have that problem. Corn was sitting in a different area. We didn't have the wind and the rainstorm that we had yesterday. We've been having rain, I think, 3 days now, and that wind was crazy. It was kicking it yesterday. But the corn is now kicking it. Because what I noticed into the corn is that it's starting to pollinate. As I was trying to stand one of the stalks up, pollen started falling. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a good call to get in here, try to straighten this corn up. And then I noticed a while ago when I looked down there, I seen another one fixing to pollen out. So this corn, some stalks have 4 to 3 to 2 places where corn is fixing to grow, ears of corn is fixing to grow. So I definitely need this corn standing up so it can pollinate like it needs to be. As I got in there, I lost like maybe 2 stalks. They wasn't big, but I still lost them. And so that by saying that, I was like, I just kept looking at this, and I was like, I just needed more dirt. Now, I knew that a week ago when I looked at it also. And I was back in the field back there and with the tractor, and I was getting some dirt for my raised beds out of the brush pile that I created, that up underneath it's created potting soil. So I had planned on getting some of it and putting it here into this area, shoveling it in, get some more dirt in this area, and I forgot about it. And I actually put some of that dirt after I got my raised beds and forgot a raised bed and filled up my huge raised beds. And then I had a ditch back there. It was washing out. It was hard for me to get the truck back there. And so I decided to try to take some of that dirt that the brush pile had created and put it there so I can have better access into the back field until I get some pipe or something down there. But the corn is back up. It looks so beautiful. I mean, it's a gardener's nightmare when you walk out and you see your corn laying down. I am telling you, it is a gardener's nightmare. I don't know if I ever had a gardener's nightmare except when I lost all my potatoes. And that's because I planted it like everybody else said to plant it and didn't do it Cammie's way. And that's why I do it Cammie's way now. So this is the second year of me having corn, and I'm learning how to grow corn. I got a tremendous harvest last year. It created me to be addicted in growing corn. And so I decided to rotate, because everybody says rotate. But over here I have more trees, and I thought on one end it just wasn't getting enough sunlight. maybe not enough rain or enough moisture, enough water from me watering it, and then I decided to move it over here. To my surprise, this grew up taller over here than the other side, which that kind of really did surprise me, because on the other side of this corn should get more sun, but that's growing corn. I'm learning that. You just don't know what to expect, but do your very best and just grow it. You know, plants got their own life cycle, and we can't change that. All we can do is give them the best care. By saying that, I went in there and gave this corn the best care I could do at the moment. It's really looking good. Let me take you over here. Let me show you down here at these roots now. And I looked at it. I just happened to turn around and glance at it, and I was like, oh my God. So I got in here and gave it a little helping hand, and I got it standing back up. All this was laying down. So we've had so much rain, the algae is literally onto the ground. So the ground was already wet anyhow. The soil was already wet. And I tried to get as much dirt up there as I could. And really, I need more dirt than that. But I did get it up there, saying that all this was laying down on the ground. Let's see, I seen one while ago that's fixing to pollinate. If I can find it. I'm not sure where it's at now. It's that one. Looking at it, it's fixing to pollinate. It's starting to pollinate. And I was like, oh man. This one over here, when I was trying to move it, it's a smaller one. I kind of stuck it in here because I didn't want to stand up. That one right there, it's really small. Of course, it's crooked now. The corn was trying to stand up. A lot of it's crooked because it was trying to stand up, but majority of it wouldn't have stood up. There's no way it could have stood up. It was trying. But as I moved this one, I started seeing pollen. So I kind of stuck it in there and shook it because, you know, this corn right here is little. It looks like it's going to put out 2 ears if it continues. And so the corn is fixing to pollinate. So I thought, oh my God, I'm so glad that I got in here and tried to get as much dirt as I could around these roots, because the roots, yeah, when it grows, you'll see the feeder roots branching out, but the rain had washed a majority of the dirt away. And so anyways, next time I'm gonna try to, you know, it wasn't concerning to me, but next time I'll try to maybe not have such a highest hill. Maybe I'll have more dirt next time, more soil. Some people say, we call it dirt around here in the South, but maybe I'll have more, you know, not as high of a hills to begin with, and take and then mount up my dirt. It's just that with the rains that we've had, it's that time of the year. It's May. May is a time that we get a lot of rain. And so with saying that, you can see the algae. Maybe you can see it. I'm ruffling it up. But the corn is now standing up. And it has really grown. It grew a lot yesterday. But then yesterday afternoon we got that rain. You see one that's bent over back there. I'm not concerned about that because it's not fell completely over. I did try to put some dirt around it. But it's on the end, and so I'm going to let it do its thing. Maybe it'll stand up. Maybe it'll stand up. You know, if it doesn't, then I'll try to give it a helping hand. I might not be able to help myself and go down and help it anyhow, but that's what I did. I came in here. This corn was terrible. Once I got in there, I was like, oh my God. And I was sweating my head off trying to, and the sun wasn't shining then, but I was sweating my head off trying to get in there and get this corn to stand up. It was a job, but I'm so happy that I went with a struggle. If anybody's ever been in corn and sweating, it makes you itch, and so I'm really itching right at the moment. But so we got it standing up. Some of it's still leaning. I'm not concerned with that. You know, it's up, and so maybe with the sun it'll stand completely up. At least it's not laying on the ground. So down there, I also learned, don't throw the corn that you decide to cut away down in the middle of the road, because it got right into my way as I was trying to get this dirt. Now this one's leaning. It's kind of like a sucker that's branched off. I've been having to cut suckers off. I don't know anything about that, but it was, you know, it was growing corn at the bottom. So maybe I should have left it. I didn't know. I didn't want to take its maturity growth away from the rest of the corn, so I kind of cut it down. I threw those little stalks in there and into the compost, but they was right into the way. Maybe with this, the good point is that maybe with it being moved around, not just going straight up, it's kind of branched out a lot, that it can get some good pollination, it can get some good sun in there to the rest of the corn and grow more properly. Like we see that one right there. The corn's going to do its own thing. It's shorter, and you got one right beside of it. It's taller. So I'm super happy that I took the time and got this corn standing up. So that's me thinking about it all day long. It's standing up. Oh my gosh. It's kind of like, you know, when you're learning to grow something other, or you're growing something other. Pretty much all my plants are like my babies. I just take care of them, and I appreciate them, and I appreciate God for, you know, give me the food that He gives me. And so to get that food, I got to do my part. That means to take care of them, and that's what I did. I got in there and I took care of this corn, and a lot of dirt, but it'll be just fine. Well, I got the corn to stand up. It stood up all day yesterday. Then we had another crazy storm, and it laid it right back down and some. And I say and some because some of it wasn't down, but it's down now. That one wasn't laying down, but it's down now. What was down is down, and what was not down is down. So it's a little frustrating. I'm gonna have to go over here. Well, I haven't been out in the garden. I'm coming out here this morning to pick some string beans, some garden peas. Everything else looks, I can tell, about the same. If we just hadn't got that storm yesterday, everything would have been fine. That doesn't look too bad in there, I don't think. I haven't been out here, so that's the first time me seeing it. But we did have a super crazy storm. That one's down. It wasn't down yesterday. Put on this side. See what's going on. Look in there. Yep. That wasn't down, but it's down. Some of it that was down is not as far down as it was yesterday. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, this wasn't down. Oh my goodness. I've got to get it back up today. Wow. This wasn't down. All this wasn't down like this. So there's more down. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. It took me a while to get this corn back up. The sun is it's gonna be 81 today, so the sun is definitely rising up. Let me see if I can get out there and pick some garden peas. And I noticed just the time frame of it being down yesterday that it was trying to stand up, so the stalks was not standing straight up. It created the curl some, which is, I don't know, it's kind of not good. Yeah, there's more down. Well, I don't know what to do except get in there. I did put dirt around the roots. More so yesterday. I worked really hard on this yesterday. But with rain and wind, what can you say? If the roots had been established enough, if we hadn't got that rain, that's got 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ears of corn growing on there. If we hadn't got that storm yesterday, everything would, I think, would have been fine. It kind of did space it out a little bit more, kind of like that, so it's just all crammed together. But of course, you know, being together like that will produce good pollination. So this is what it looks like. It just is what it is. So I've got to get in there. That don't look bad there, but it didn't look that bad on this. Too bad on this side. Yesterday, it was the other side. So, anyways, And it's because that soil is it's wet. You've got some tall plants, and then you got more wind, more rain, and then this is what you have. I'm getting out here later than I usually do. I was just tired. I worked 17, well, I had here on the homestead has 17 hours. Whoops. You see, the roots are they're not big enough. The corn is huge. And so, well, we'll just try to get it back up. I might just go ahead and get in there. We'll see what it does. Before that sun is definitely coming up and making it kind of turn sideways. Because it's too tall to stand up. It's not going to stand up on its own. I've already learned that. If it was smaller, if it was halfway, this size, if it was like 3 feet, 2 or 3 feet, maybe 4, yeah, I would say it would stand back up. But this is too tall for it to stand up. Out right in there is definitely 8 feet. So it's just too tall. That's 8 feet, 7 feet. That one's 7 feet. So that one over there is probably 8, 9 feet. It was just too tall. It is what it is, and so I'm gonna take one of those and see what it does since the soil. Yesterday I was gonna wait until the soil dries up some. The corn tries to stand up and it starts making it crooked. So you see how that was crooked? I got out here yesterday morning before the sun came up. It'll work out, but it's definitely got to get back up. I'm looking at that tassels right there. Oh gosh, and it's starting to pollinate. Well, wow. Okay, so yep, starting to get that color. The pollination. I've got to get this corn standing up if I'm going to get any corn the way I want to. So the second downfall of the corn. And I went in and went ahead and tried to stand it back up. I didn't wait. The sun is just starting to tip over the trees. It didn't take very long. I was amazed at that. Maybe that's why they call it corn maze. But I was amazed that it didn't take very long to get it back up. But as you can tell, the corn, once it's down, it starts trying to stand up. And that makes it even more difficult to get it to stand up when it's already curved over. So I'm glad I just went ahead and tried to get it to stand up. It's just that the wind came in from a different angle. And then you got a root system, even though it's been fertilized property. It's just that the root systems are starting to get grounded down in there, and it just didn't have enough time to really get established. If the storm hadn't came with all that wind, then it wouldn't have been a problem. And these stalks are pretty. They're getting pretty wide. So I lost one I put up yesterday, and you see how curved it is. It was curved yesterday. I just had to lean it in there, but it's starting to pollinate. So I'm not going to waste it. Rain will wash off your pollination. I'm going to cut it off and shake it around in there or on the edges. Corn is starting to tassel out. It's starting to, get this little, I forgot what they're called now, but anyways, husk. They're starting to get, it wasn't there yesterday. That's how fast corn grows. And so I'm so glad that I got it standing back up. Maybe we'll get a good harvest. This side has grown. But as long as I get some corn, I'm learning from this. And what did I learn? Well, I want to say if I had more dirt. If it had like 10 inches heaped up around those roots right there, it wouldn't have had as much damage. But when you got the rains washing the dirt, and what do you say? You see why that right there is why I went in and stood it up, because it tries to stand up. And that's probably, that one right there is probably about 4 feet high. Some of it didn't grow as much as I wanted it to, and so, I don't know. At least it's looking beautiful. Some of it's got, I think I counted one that has going to have 6 ears of corn if it develops. And most of it has 4 ears of corn, and some 2. So, you know, it's doing really super well. Everybody's been amazed at my corn. They just stand there and look at it. So your corn's doing good. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, it's still doing good. The rest of the garden, as far as I know, it fared out like it did yesterday. It's just yesterday afternoon we had another huge storm come through. And I was like, I just knew. I knew that I was going to have corn going down again. And I was like, well, all right, well, what do you say? You know what I'm saying? You just deal with it. So, there it is. It's back up, and that's really all that matters. A gardener's nightmare. Storm coming through, laying your corn down. So now we'll see what kind of development of this corn will be. It is pretty. It's only second year of growing, so it takes time to learn.